Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Time!
Three on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game!
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni!
Float game for the win! Taylor's gone. Goodbye. Touchdown, Indy. Woo! IU. America. They got a football team now.
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Now, here's Jim Coyle.
Hey, everybody. Welcome aboard. How are you? It is Monday, so how well can you be? But just kidding. Hey, the snow's gone. It's cold as all things out there, but it's Monday. Got to start it over again. Great weekend. Hope everyone had an enjoyable time. Enjoyed a lot of all the games that were going on. Ross-Ade Stadium was taken over by Indiana fans. Wow. Yeah, the Lane Kiffin show. How about that? Yeah, good to be back. A little time away. That was good to have, but good to be back as it's happening, baby. It is Big Ten Championship Week. The Indiana Hoosiers finished the regular season in college football 12-0. First time in program history. And, I was listening to as the Lane Kiffin saga was going on. Good thing, Melissa. We appreciate you as always. Ole Miss, this is the first time they have won 11 games in their entire history. You know, they had Archie Manning and Eli Manning. They've had some history. So there you go. But, yeah, it's going to be a good one as the Big Ten Championship rolls around this Saturday up in Uptown, Indy. Big day for Indiana fans as the basketball team also taking on a tough game, a game that I do not expect them to win. I'll tell you right now, if they win that game, oh, hell, just start burning the city down because that'll start it. Louisville is one of the best teams in college basketball right now. Very good. This is going to be the toughest test yet that Indiana has faced. We'll talk about all that and much more. The Fish will join us here in a little bit. Also, Dustin Dopirak on the program today, as well as our friend Greg Rakestraw. The Colts took it on the chin, but most people are thinking about that 12-0 morning. 12-0, man. 12-0. Just think about how difficult that really is. I mean, we'll hear from Sig and all of that stuff, but I asked him about, that very thing about going 12-0, how hard that is. And you can see he's enjoying it as much as he can. But this is not Sig from last year. This is not Signetti that was saying all the bombastic things that to wake up Indiana football fans in essentially. He said it many, many times. So it's all good. It's all fun. It's all going to be some good stuff. How about your boy Marty Smith? Seemed like he just got camped out down in Oxford, and then look at an interview with him now, and it looks like they've pulled off of the road somewhere on some little dirt path. It's funny, but the Kiffin watch has come and gone. It's over now. He's going to LSU. Got a lot of that to talk about. Gonna go ahead and take a break so we get out of here in time for Fish to make it in. Lots more coming up, including Don Fischer. Greg Rakestraw, and Mr. Dopirak. We'll hear from the coaches as well. Appreciate you being with us most of all on this Monday. Plenty more coming around. We're back with it right after these messages.
Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemooreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Monday. Looking forward to Don Fischer joining us here in a little bit. And more importantly, lots going on this week as the college football playoff poll comes out again tomorrow, but that is not the final poll. That will come next Sunday. I've started to wonder, with all the movement below Indiana and Ohio State, with those two staying right the same, 12-0, finishing the year out 12-0, does the loser even move? Should the loser move? It'll be their first loss. So it'll be interesting. Interesting to see. I had assumed all year long that we'd be looking at moving to the 3 spot, possibly the 4, depending on the game, but probably the 3. And but you never know. You never know what's going to happen with the committee, because it's a committee. And now, while it has looked like Indiana was going to be heading to either the Rose Bowl if they win or the Cotton Bowl if they lost, now Texas A&M sneaking up there. I've said it before. I can see Texas A&M sneaking into that spot and grabbing that Cotton Bowl position and sending Indiana to Miami, which I'm not sure my Indiana fans are going to complain. Either way, they're traveling. So do they care if they're going to Dallas or Miami? Maybe they prefer Miami, rocking it up down at the Hard Rock. They're going to have their, they'll certainly find out. I don't know that they can beat Ohio State. I don't know that they can't. This is going to be just a telling game. It really, really is. Indiana's defense, I am not giving a quarter on them. Everyone wants to talk about Ohio State's defense, which is phenomenal. And let's see. Don, how are you, brother? We got you. You're on the air, by the way.
Well, I was just calling you to find out where our link was, and I found it. So I'm going to join you here in a second.
Perfect. Well, we'll wait till you do that, and we'll keep on rolling. Don Fischer joining us here in just a second. There he is. We knew we'd have him along there. But speaking of the fish, another tough weekend, man. But you're going to get some rest finally. But some double duty. But I'm sure you had no qualms with this one. The first one starting off at Ross-Ade Stadium, or should I say Memorial Stadium North, because there was a lot of red there, Don.
There really was. It was fantastic crowd on Friday night, without doubt. The biggest crowd of Indiana fans I've ever seen at Ross-Ade Stadium in my 53 years of doing Indiana football.
It was about, I'm not going to say half, but 40% maybe. Would that be fair?
That'd be fair. And I trust
That's
me.
a lot for a road game.
Well, after halftime, it was about 80%.
Yeah.
No, it was really special, no question about it. And it was a special performance by Indiana. The ground game was just phenomenal in that contest. Indiana had no answers for what Indiana did from a ground game perspective. And Fernando did have his best ball game, but you know what? You're not going to play perfect every game. And some days, and here's the other thing. This team they play such complementary football. Your ground game is tremendous. Some days the ground game isn't as good as the passing game and vice versa. We saw that on Friday night, but that's the aspect of complementary football that this football team puts out there every single week. And it's so much fun to watch.
And that is what has made this team, even last year, they didn't have everything they needed to have, but you could see it coming. This was a program that was going to be built on both sides of the ball. So many times, Don, we see these great teams they're either so good offensively and their defense is really marginal, or it's the opposite. And buddy, when you get one of these are championship elite level teams. Like the Ohio States, like the others, but it's like Indiana now. You could put Indiana in that category because their defense is as good as anybody that there is. And of course, on the offensive side, what are you going to say? You've got the leading Heisman candidate. You've got Omar Cooper. You've got this offensive line, this running back core, all these running backs. This is a team that has a legit shot at winning the Big Ten and national championships.
Well, they are. There's no question. They are Indiana and Ohio State are 1-2 or 1-2, vice versa, however you want to place it. But they're going to play for that Big Ten title this coming weekend. That's the first game that's in front of us, and there's no doubt that's the only thing that Kurt Cignetti is thinking about and talking about these days, because he is a one game at a time type of coach, and he pounds that into his team, and this team has bought into everything that he's talked about over these last 2 years. There's no question.
Yeah, and even the players talking in post game, talking specifically with Aiden Fischer and Stephen Daly the other night after the game, because they have two different perspectives. Aiden obviously has been there for 2 seasons, but was a big part of the turnaround. Stephen Daly, he was talking about last year, he was just hoping to win a game. And now he's on a team that just won every game. And Fernando also called it a group of misfits. And that's what's so great about this team is it's not a list of 5-star players. It's a group of misfits and some really good players. But it is great to see this type of team be able to compete and potentially win at the highest level.
Well, there's no question. And look, there's still a long way to go to be in that hunt for a national championship. But right now, you've got to win the Big Ten title first. That's the key, if you can get that. If you don't get it, and it's a tremendously competitive football game, you may still get that bye. So that's a possibility. If you don't get it, if you would lose this ball game, you're going to be in the playoff no matter what. And then it's up to you to get the job done, no matter how many games you have to play. And in my mind, the only thing right now that's important is just this next ball game. It's the Big Ten championship on the line. If you can finish that and you get that in your bailiwick right away, anything can happen for the rest of the season. So, and it still can, no matter which way you go. This is still, in my mind, a national championship caliber football team.
Oh, without question, and we will see that as we go forward. But let's talk about it, man. The Hoosiers are playing for the Big Ten championship game against the Ohio State Buckeyes, the only two undefeated teams in the country this year coming out of the Big Ten, which has produced the last two national champions and on pace to produce yet a third with. It could potentially be three different national champions in a row, Don, which would be amazing.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, I mean, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
As we say, and that doesn't include Oregon.
Right, exactly. So, no, here's what I would say to all this. Let's just worry about this game coming up.
Oh, yeah.
The Big Ten championship is the one thing that right now is on the doorstep. And you've got a chance to do that. Indiana has won Big Ten titles twice. 1945, which was a outright title, and 1967 was the last time that Indiana won a Big Ten championship, but they shared that. It was a tie for first place, and Indiana got to go because Purdue went the year before. And Purdue was the team that they tied. So when you look at Indiana's inability over the years to be much from a football perspective, and to have this happen in just the first and second years of what Curt Cignetti has done in Indiana, it might be the most remarkable feat in college athletics.
I agree. And every time I see someone say it's because of NIL, I want to grab them by the throat and say, listen, you no knowledge knucklehead. It's because of the transfer portal, maybe, but it's not NIL, because Indiana was as NIL poor as anybody when that first started. It was the transfer portal, but this was not 5-star guys. This is what I love about it. It was a bunch of G5, no stars, and that's who's playing for a Big Ten championship, Don, and deservedly so. And if they can pull this off, the lore that this will go down, and the Heisman Trophy is also riding on this. People can say it, look at it however they want, but I'll just come right out and say it. The Heisman Trophy is riding on this, whether it's for Fernando or for the Ohio State quarterback, who I'm blowing his name right now.
Sayer.
Yeah, Julian Sayin. Just saying. I'm just saying. You'd think you'd be able to remember that one. But it's coming down to this. And these two guys have had a great year. They've led their teams to undefeated seasons. And there's just so much on the line. But I think Indiana is now built for this, Don. Before, I don't think they were built for this moment. And a part of that is having Fernando, because I think he's built for any damn moment. He's going to be out on the talk circuit as soon as his football career is over.
Well, all I care about right now is this next weekend. I'm not getting ahead of myself about Heisman trophies or any of those kinds of things. I just want this football team to play its best football. And I think they will play great football this coming weekend. They are going to have a challenge because Ohio State, they have that ego. They know exactly who they are. They've been there before a million times. And
they haven't been since 2000, the year that Indiana should have gone, probably, right? When they were 6-1 during COVID. I think that's the last time Ohio State made it to the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, because of Michigan. So no. All I can tell you is this is the most important game of the year because it's the next one. And that's Coach Curt Cignetti talking right there.
Boy, you are getting more and more like him every time we talk. I'm like, well, am I talking to Don or Cignetti? But I don't want to forget, I know we're out of time, but the Indiana basketball team, they're going to have a tough matchup. A game, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't expect them to win. Louisville is just a really good team. They're a top 5 team. Now, I'm not saying they can't win it, but I don't expect it because of what Louisville has done so far. And if they can win that game, buddy, they are on their way.
Oh, they got to beat Minnesota first here, big boy.
Yeah, I know. Well, see, I get all the big things are jumping out at me, man. I'm all jacked up for Saturday, Don.
Well, Minnesota is up next, and that comes on Wednesday night in Minneapolis, in the barn, a place that's always intimidating, especially for a roster that hasn't got a single player on it that has never played there before. So that'll be a challenge in itself because the barn itself isn't that much intimidating, except for that floor that's about 3 feet above the main floor, and you can slide off of that thing. It'll be interesting to see how these kids handle it, but I think they're going to do great. DeVries is a really good basketball coach as well, and we're seeing that already with his ball club. So I'm excited about what we've got, both Indiana football and basketball right now. It's a phenomenal week ahead.
Looking forward to it, Don. Rest the voice. We'll look forward to it, buddy. Enjoy it.
See you. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, sir. The Fish joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Sorry there, Ray, if I talk too much, which I may have. Got excited there for a minute, but no, looking forward to lots going on. The basketball team got 2 games coming up. Yeah, I did. I forgot all about the Big Ten opener against Minnesota coming up, which is a tough place to play. You want to talk about a tough way to open up your Big Ten experience. Playing at Minnesota is a way to do that. And they're getting that opportunity on Wednesday. And that's going to give us another indication of what that basketball team is going to be like from a standpoint of being able to go through the adversity on the road. And we're seeing them being challenged early and often, as they will open up Big Ten play on the road. Then you've got the game against Louisville on Saturday, which is going to be a very, very, very tough game. Louisville is one of the top teams in the country, without question. And if Indiana could get a win with that, you want to talk about kickstarting a day? Hello, mercy. And before I forget, Clayton's Country Bar up there in Indianapolis. I think that's looking like where we're going to be doing the basketball post-game, football pregame kind of a show in between the games at Clayton's Country Bar there in Indianapolis. So look forward to joining us there. I'll have some merch. I'll take merch there. And speaking of merch, have you gone and subscribed to thehoosier.com yet? Because you get thrown in the drawing for tons of merch. It's constant, so your odds of winning is very good. Let me tell you that, like extraordinarily good. Make sure you hit me up, send a message if you or do that. Greg Rakestraw is going to join us next. Another big weekend in Indiana high school sports as state championships. State championships were doled out, baby. Got high school basketball going on now. It is a busy. The Colts are still playing, kind of. Not a great day for the Colts. It's not been. Oh man, they're on a slide, is what you call it. Especially after how they've started the season off, and getting a little bumpy right now as they head into divisional play. We'll talk about all of that and much more when we come back. Greg Rakestraw joined us. Appreciate you being with us. Back with plenty more right after these messages.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community charity groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's COYLE, to receive a discounted fundraiser. Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Monday. That means a visit from our good friend Greg Rakestraw from the ISB Sports Network and many others. Over the weekend, you had just a few things going on, a few state football championship games, Colts games. I'm sure there was a few other things you had thrown in there just for hits and giggles. How are you?
I'm good, my friend. How are you?
Doing fine. It's weather. It's cold. I don't like that, but what are you going to do? That comes with winter, but a busy weekend. The Colts, I guess we start with the Colts. Not a good one, man. They're on a slide. They've kind of lost that magic that they had started the year off with, scoring all these points, kind of breaking some records, and now they're not exactly looking record-breaking with as they were getting into divisional play. And now they've got the next game up is biggest bugaboo they've had in a while, other than opening games, as they've got to go to Jacksonville up next, where that place if they don't win a lot, Greg.
No, they haven't won there since 2014. Same as winning the AFC South and same as hosting a playoff game. And obviously now this becomes the game of the year. And how I would describe that, how the Colts are playing, is not terrible, just not to the level at which they did, say, for the first 8 games of this season. Where the one game they lost, at the end of September was to the Rams. And obviously the Rams, even though they lost yesterday, are a really good football team. And that was a game you felt the Colts gave away. Colts have been beaten. Now, a couple of questionable whistles in yesterday's game for sure. And we can certainly talk about that as well. But it is a Colts offense that has gone a little stagnant. And part of it is simple. You can tell that Daniel Jones is injured and is trying to play through it. And his lack of mobility has now affected this offense a couple of weeks, in a row. But at the same time, he's far and away the best option they have. They're not going to turn the ball over to Riley Leonard unless an injury dictates they have to at this point. So you just kind of got to gut it out and know that, they have kind of gone from the 1 seed discussion to now really it's more about, hey, win the division for the first time in 11 years. Get that home playoff game for the first time in 11 years. And then after that, just make sure you stay in, because it's crazy to think about this. When you start 7-1, even when you're sitting at 8-4, you're like, hey, you're a playoff team. Well, they're only kind of a game away from not being a playoff team at this point, because the back half of the conference is so bad. The law of averages means the front half of the conference is pretty good. And so basically what happens next Sunday in Jacksonville is going to determine the conversation we have about this football team for the final 4 weeks of the season.
Yeah, and and we see this a lot. People get excited. They have a hot start, boy, and you're like, oh, start lining up the band. Here we go, Super Bowl. Hold up on that, boys. And that's kind of what's happened. But that happens in every sport. It happens every week in college football. It's not like it takes that long to change. So, but the Colts they still have what they need. It's kind of like they're in that need of a bye week to get things back together. I don't know if that would cure everything or not, but also teams start to get a read on you once they get a lot of you on tape and that's another thing in that this offense. It was relatively unknown, I guess you'd say, to the league because the quarterback in this offense was different. Everything was kind of different together. And so now they've got a lot of it on tape, but I'll tell you one thing that hasn't changed. Jonathan Taylor. The dude is still a bad man. They can't stop him. They can only hope to contain him.
Yeah. Taylor was good yesterday, 21 carries for 85 yards. Again, you could argue the Colts maybe should utilize him more. The MO for the Colts has been throw the ball in the first half, run the ball in the second half. Maybe because of Daniel Jones being limited. Treat it like Chicago politics, voting early and often, run the football early and often. It may be time to go 25 to 30 carries on a regular basis for Jonathan Taylor. Normally that wears a guy down. Taylor has been seemingly indestructible this year. And frankly, I don't think the Colts have that much faith in his backups in terms of Amir Abdullah and DJ Giddens, who was a third-day draft pick out of Kansas State. The Colts are very high on. He basically has been a healthy scratch the last several weeks for this football team. So the backup running back has gotten about as many touches as I have over the last few weeks for the Indianapolis Colts. JT has been great. It may be time to even somehow make a workhorse, even have more of a workload for this football team to be successful. And you said a lot of things there, Jim, and a couple things that I will regurgitate, so to speak. One, everybody seemingly has gone to school on how Pittsburgh played this team, and that was to blitz. The teams that blitzed early this year, the Colts seemingly had an answer for it. They have not had this, as much in the last few weeks. Now, yesterday, Daniel Jones was sacked just one time. This comes the week after the Texans sacked Josh Allen 8 times. So in that front, you say, hey, Colts offensive line did pretty well. But if you look at Daniel Jones's numbers, 14 for 27, when you force a quarterback into that many incompletions, it means you are getting home. And so while the blitz for Houston did not have the same sack numbers, they certainly had the same efficiency numbers in that game yesterday. And again, because of that leg injury, he simply has to get rid of the ball quicker. He simply can't scramble as much as he once did. It's why the Colts aren't running quarterback sneaks on 3rd or 4th and short, is because of that leg injury. And it is also to some degree taken away the bootleg game, which has been really big for the Colts so far this year, whether it's to Jonathan Taylor, whether it's to Josh Downs, whether it's to Tyler Warren, etc. So again, it's a Colts offense that's probably operating at about 75 or 80%. And once you do that, it makes it a whole lot easier for teams to play catch up with you from the pace they were setting the first couple of months of the year.
Yeah, I mean, just taking away that misdirection, those types of plays, that really shrinks your own playing field.
Yeah.
And that's something that they were using very effectively and can get back to, but have to get back to and soon, because, man, this nice lead that they had in the division has just shrunk like a piece of plastic in the oven, man. It is. What are these, down to one game, or are they tied?
Lead's gone. They are tied with Jacksonville. And again, part of it is the luck of the draw scheduling wise. And everybody in this division, because your schedules are similar, has a bit of a quirky schedule this year. And because the AFC South is playing both the AFC West and is also playing the NFC West this year, it means you've got a lot of travel. Obviously, the Colts added the game in Berlin. You know, the Jaguars are used to that. You know, they basically play a game in London, if not two, every year at this point. So they have always kind of had that unique nature. But frankly, you know, the teams that, you know, would be to some degree cakewalk teams. Well, now the Jaguars and the Texans are starting to see those teams. So it's starting to level out a little bit from a scheduling standpoint. So the Colts and Jaguars are tied at 8-4. The Colts still one game clear of the Texans. Obviously, the Colts have to go to Houston now, the last day of the season, and the Colts will see the Jaguars twice in the next 4 weeks. So that is the other part of this equation, Jim, that is not favoring the Indianapolis Colts. They have the toughest schedule remaining in the National Football League. So it's at Jacksonville, 8 wins. At Seattle, 9 wins. Home to San Francisco, and I think the Niners got to 8 wins yesterday, and obviously they're playing better because they've got Brock Purdy back. Then it's home to Jacksonville. Then it's at Houston, who has 7 wins. So you only play 4 teams in the 5 games you have left, and all of them have a good chance of being playoff teams. And if they are, it probably means at the expense of the Indianapolis Colts. So, again, you kind of knew this schedule was going to be a gauntlet the way it's shaped up. That's exactly how it's turned out to be. And the Colts have gone from being an A-plus level team to start the year to kind of more of a B-minus level team over the course of the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, and it's like you said, wow, the schedule. Woo! I cannot imagine, but this is a team that I'm not saying that they are, but we could see them fade, and it would not be a shock, and that would just be a shame with how well this team was playing. But that's why it's a 18 game schedule, or however many is it? 18 games.
17 games in 18 weeks. And again, it is the team you are in week 1 is rarely the team you are in week 18. And have injuries played a factor for this football team? Absolutely they have. You know, no DeForest Buckner, although I thought against the Texans run game, I thought the Colts defense was solid. 102 yards allowed, 3.2 yards a carry. I think the Colts did well against that. If you want to look at areas where the Colts, you know, in terms of defensively yesterday struggled, it's getting off the field. Pass coverage is not what they need it to be, and the pass rush just has not been consistent enough. You know, they got home on C.J. Stroud twice. They forced some incompletions because of a good combination of blitzing and coverage. Sauce Gardner gets hurt in the first quarter of the game yesterday. Mooney Ward has missed 5 games due to concussions this year, and Mooney did not have a good game yesterday. Nico Collins lit up the Indianapolis Colts again. And sometimes, Jim, you can make all the right moves, and it just doesn't work out. And I'm not saying long-term it's not going to work out, but short-term it hasn't worked out for one reason or another, because pass rush and pass coverage is not where it needs to be currently for this football team.
And hopefully they get back to it. Speaking of other teams that are a lot further along, state championships, man. It's usually a great weekend, Thanksgiving weekend. Speaking of which, how was your Thanksgiving, by the way? There you go. Think we're getting you back there. Kind of lost you for a second. Just let me know whenever you're back. You can start talking. But how was your Thanksgiving if you're back with us?
I'm back with you. So sorry you cut out when you said state championship. So you want me to give you a recap of the 2 games that I had?
Absolutely.
All right, so I had the 5A and 6A games. I had the evening games each night. And on Friday night, Maryville gave New Pal quite the battle. And that was as physical of a game as I have seen in a long time. And knowing those 2 teams, that's not surprising. But that game equaled the physicality of the 6A game, which says a lot the next night between 2 very good teams in Brownsburg and Westfield. It was a 17-17 game. And to Maryville's credit, their starting quarterback goes out with what they believe was a collarbone injury. Their backup comes in and throws a touchdown, who had barely played all year. Maybe that limited their offense in the second half. And New Pal, a team that prides themselves on physicality, and physicality usually means you're ready for the fourth quarter. New Pal starters never have to play the fourth quarter. You can count maybe 2 or 3 times all year that's the case. They're ready for the fourth quarter. They outscored Maryville 21-0 in the fourth quarter to win their 5th state championship, winning at 38-17. Kyle Ralph now in 13 years. I'm not sure which stat is more impressive, Jim. They've been unbeaten state champs 5 times in that span, or Kyle Ralph has lost 14 games in those 13 seasons as the head coach at New Pal High School. And then in the 6A game, we had a rematch of last year's state championship game between Brownsburg and Westfield. Brownsburg eventually got out to a 38-17 lead. Westfield kept battling. Westfield scored with 11 seconds left to go to make it 38-31, but were unsuccessful in terms of recovering an onside kick. And Brownsburg makes it back-to-back state championships, winning 38-31. And this Brownsburg team, I keep saying about them, they do everything well. There is not an element of the game in which they have a weakness. Have there been probably better, more dominant teams in the history of Indiana high school football? Probably, but I'm not sure there's a team that has had maybe fewer weaknesses than this Brownsburg team. They are really, really good. And, Jim, they certainly have a chance of potentially making it 3 in a row.
Oh, lost Greg there for a second. If he comes back on, I'll just let him keep on rolling. But yeah, big time, big games. Congratulations to everybody. Hope everyone had some fun. Yeah, it's great team. You hate to see those great teams lose those final games, but that's what makes it so sports, man. That's what it's about. And appreciate Greg for joining us here on the program as always. But yeah, Brownsburg has been very, very good. That's right. You got to, oh man, they're just tough. I mean, some of these programs, New Pal, tough programs. Just fun to see it no matter what. I hope most of you or some of you got out to see a high school football game and enjoyed some of that. And speaking of football, plenty of that going on. Coach Kurt Signetti, we caught up with him after the Purdue game. And yeah, he's really very, very calm, enjoying things on how they went. And let's hear we'll have a listen to, see what Coach Sig had to say.
What is that? Yep.
All right, good team win tonight. We challenged the team to improve, even though we had won the last 2 games. I didn't feel like we had improved those 2 weeks, and we asked our guys to do more. You know, do we still have the killer instinct to put a team away? Can we get everybody to play for the team and eliminate all selfishness? And then at halftime, when we're up 28-3, we challenged the team to play the best 3rd quarter of the season, which I think they responded and tried to do that. So obviously, first team in Indiana history to go 12-0 in the regular season. And that's absolute, and regardless of what happens from here on out, this team will always be the first team in Indiana history to go undefeated in the regular season. So it's a great job by the players. We've got a lot of good players that have high character, a lot of leadership. It's a great job by the assistant coaches, the sports staff, Derek Goings and his staff. And I'm extremely appreciative of President Pam Whitten and Scott Dolson for their leadership and support in making this possible. Because it takes a commitment to make this possible. So we followed up an 11-1 with a 12-0. It's not a bad start. And I'm sure I'll get that question. Did I ever think that was possible? But I'll be honest with you, it happened so fast, I was just trying to figure out what I was going to pack and bring to Bloomington. And here we are. So, but I think everybody in the organization understands there's work to be done and what lies ahead, and we're excited for the future. Questions?
Zach, you're left in news.
Kurt, I guess like in that vein, you said a couple weeks ago against Wisconsin, after Wisconsin, you said it's hard for you to have to sort of take that step back. But on a night when you do something that, as you say, is kind of final and forever, like do you encourage your team to have a moment where they just sort of soak in and appreciate this has never happened before? Whatever you accomplish from here, you've done something historic.
Well, believe it or not, I don't control every thought, action, and habit of our team or coaches. there's a lot of celebrating going on in that locker room right now. There's a lot of cigars being smoked, and they're having a good old time. And but they also understand that they get to enjoy it for 24 hours, and it's a great night for Indiana, for our fan base, our alums, our loyal supporters, everybody that cares about Indiana. This is something that a lot of people probably thought couldn't happen. And it just goes to show you, when you have a commitment, a plan, and you have the right people in place, anything's possible. So here we are, but more work to be done.
News on your left, and Matt.
What's it been like, though? I mean, Aiden Fischer, first thing he does is get the bucket, runs with the team, then runs over to you. And those jams, you guys have had a lot of these moments. Does that make you emotional that these guys followed you, came with you, trusted you, and they've risen to these heights now in 2 years?
I guess it could if I dwelt on it. I don't have time, really. There's so many things that I'm involved with when the game ends. I did happen to notice that, and had a special moment with Tyreek Tucker, who, is somebody that I've known for a long time. And, so they've had a lot of great seasons. Yeah, they have, and we have together. But it's, it's our first undefeated regular season. We've had a lot of one-loss seasons. But this is a team. Everybody that contributed to this, from the president to the athletic director, his staff, the assistant coaches, all the support staff, and the players, their hard work, players who graduated last year played a role to make this happen, to carry that kind of momentum and credibility forward. It's something that everybody played a part in, and certainly are tremendous fans.
Man on your left, and Pete.
Coach, again, the run game, just keep wearing them down. Eventually the dam breaks. You break their will. Passing game was maybe not as sharp, early on, but just your thoughts on that, on the O-line and the run game, especially with some moving parts there on the O-line, to go out there and 355 yards rushing.
Well, when you play in these kind of conditions, it sure helps if you run the football, right? And, like people talk about, defense travels, run game travels too, especially in these kind of conditions. And the pass game took a while and really never quite was on point. But the run game sure was good. A lot of explosive plays, and the defense got some turnovers for us, and Purdue couldn't find the end zone, and special teams were solid. So it was a good all-around team win.
Peter on your left, and Ravi.
Yeah, maybe Kurt, just the performance of Stephen Daly. He was dominant, especially early on.
Yeah, Daly's a guy that just keeps getting better and better and better. And there's another guy, known to him for a long time, was in our camp at JMU, ran sub 4.4, 4.4, low 4.400, 40-yard dash in camp, 232 pounds, about 6% body fat at the time. He was a sub 10, 800-meter guy in high school. And he played at a really small high school, and then he went to Kent State. And so, he came here this summer. He committed to us a few months before that, like he hadn't done anything. He came in out of shape, but he's got the type of body, and in 2-3 weeks he was back in pretty good shape. But he's getting the kind of development now through nutrition, strength and conditioning, coaching, that kind of thing, where you're really seeing him start to blossom. Wish we had him for another year or two, but we don't. And he's a key player for us right now.
There's Coach Sig talking after Indiana goes 12-0 with a 56-3 win at Purdue over the weekend. The last 2 years, do the math, I believe that is 122-3. Purdue's in a bad place in sports in general, but especially in football right now. I know everybody looks at their basketball team and says, "Oh, no, they're fine." And basketball, they are, but this sports landscape is changing, and man, teams that are not on it on football are going to be hurt. They're going to continue to the athletics departments of these programs are going to continue to be hit and drained of money because of money being moved and earmarked towards football, towards basketball, towards the sports that make money, which, there's the Title IX, which they, as far as the rev share, does not really come into play, so to speak, and it shouldn't. As a business, you've got to run the business that keeps the businesses going. So we'll see how sports do change, or will schools end up losing programs? I expect that they will. Programs like rowing, or especially programs that are regionally not as prolific, because field hockey, for example, there are certain areas of the country where schools don't play field hockey, or vice versa. And baseball, for example, it's tougher as you go up north. So not all northern programs, P4 teams do, but it's really going to start changing. And it's unfortunate because, pro sports are solid because they have contracts, because they're not having these goofy changes that the college game is having right now. The college game has got a serious problem when with the Lane Kiffin thing. I don't blame Lane Kiffin. What do you want him to do? This is his time. If this is the opportunity he deems that he needs to take, the timing sucks. I'll grant anybody that, but he can't control the timing. He can't control how the college football playoffs are set up. He can't control when the school year changes, and that the fact that these sports are tied to the school year. That's something that pro sports don't have to worry about. They just have their own schedule. But that's an issue for college sports, and especially college football. College football is the only one that faces it, because now you also have the transfer portal that will open up January 2nd while some of these teams are still playing. So crazy. It's crazy, baby. Go sell crazy somewhere else. We're all stocked up here. Speaking of crazy, someone who's not, Dustin Dopirak. He'll join us next. Back with plenty more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after these messages.
If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. When it comes to apparel and promotions, Freethink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. Freethink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. Freethink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what Freethink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer. Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Monday. Glad to have you along. I hope everything is going well for you and that you had a nice weekend, although it got cold. Hope you stayed warm throughout it. Dustin Dopirak
joins us now. How was your weekend, sir?
It's good. No, it's good. Got ran up to South Bend for Thursday. Got back down here and just covered a lot of basketball since then. They had a back-to-back on Friday, Saturday. Did some house cleaning yesterday. Watched Steelers get crushed. Not bad. That make it better.
Didn't make it out to Bed Bath & Beyond?
Did not make it out to Bed Bath & Beyond. So I guess didn't make a full weekend out of it. But
weekend for the Pacers as they continue to play hard. Hey, get a tough fought, gritty home 103-110 win over the Bulls. That was after a 119-86 blizzard of the Wizards. I don't know how that came out, but it worked.
Yeah, you were
back-to-back wins,
happens
man.
on the fly. That's magic, radio magic right there, Jim.
Yes. I'm just such a wordsmith. A blizzard on the Wizards. But back-to-back wins. Hey, they'll take it.
First time. Yeah, no, I mean, I think just they've reached the point that they have a functional team. With the guys they have back, they're certainly going to be, they're not going to get Obi back until February. They got a couple more weeks before they get Aaron Nesmith back. But, getting Ben Mathurin back, I think was a really big deal. And really, since he's been back, they've at least been competitive. And I think a big reason why, I mean, like there are other guys that fit what they did last year better, but they need somebody to go get buckets. Maxine's got lots of thoughts on this. But that's been a big thing where I think everybody else's role, everybody's fit into roles a little bit better since then, because you have a guy to go get shots for you. I think there were some other guys that were kind of forcing action that weren't used to forcing action. I mean, Nesmith, that was the case before he got hurt. Jarris Walker for another, taking a lot of shots. Like Andrew Nemhart had to take more than I think he's used to. And so Mathurin just being a guy who's just going to attack and also create some gravity. Makes a huge difference. And so I think since then, that's kind of evened everybody out a little bit and got people in roles that they make more sense with. And now they've had a stretch where they played with this group for a little while, and they're starting to develop some level of chemistry. I think the centers, Jay Huff and Isaiah Jackson, are finding some level of comfort. TJ McConnell's played really well over the last week. I think just really, he said we talked to him in about a week and a half ago in Cleveland. He said, the hamstring has been a bit of a slow ramp up as far as getting used to return to play. I mean, like he missed a month, and there's only so much you can do on a bad hamstring to maintain your conditioning. And he was like, it took me a while to get my legs back, took me a while to get my wind back. But you're seeing it in him now. You're seeing him going back to being himself. When he's on the floor, they've been really, really good lately. So a lot of growth, I think, in a short amount of time. Obviously, there's only so much that's on, not on the line, but you imagine there's only so much of a high ceiling for this group. You've already lost so many games already. It's going to be tough to dig out of this hole. But I think it matters just whatever they can do to win basketball games, just to maintain competitive muscle memory. And, because the whole point is making sure these guys are still aligned when Halliburton gets back. And, it's good if you get a draft pick, but the most important thing is just to be close to the team that you were when he gets back. And so it's just make sure everybody's, good with the process. Everybody's, nobody's mad at each other. Everybody is at least, feels like you can get back to that. And, I think this week took a big stretch to that. Pascal Siakam was fantastic. He hits the walk-off, not a walk-off, but I mean, he hit one with 0.1 to go on, against the Bulls. That's a big shot. And he's been, I think, tremendous to kind of keep everybody's level up. So there are a lot of good things in the last two games still. I mean, they're 4-16, it is what it is, but those are still, important strides.
But do you want good things right now, to be honest with you? I know
draft. I get it.
Because I know that you should never think that way, but this is a way. This is a way where they could do it without really thinking it. They can say, "Hey, man, we're hurt. Hey, this is the best we can do." So I'm like, ease. Hey, don't come back so fast, guys. Just take it easy. Make sure you're good.
I mean, there's stuff like that, but I mean, like you have to like kind of measure your team's capacity for misery. And I think a big piece of it is like you have guys who just won. And I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm too close to this just by virtue of, I got to go in that locker room every other day, more or less. And, like, I guess personally biased, like I don't want them to be miserable every day. I got to talk to them. I got to get something out of them. I got to write some stories, so there's some level of bias there of like, I don't want to watch them lose 60 games, but bottom line, I think, I think really though, like, because they won like they did, and because, these aren't puppies anymore, it's different when you're the Wizards, when they're running 7-8 guys out there that are 22 or under, like you expect to take your lumps then, and I can even say like a couple years ago when they were 35-47, it was the happiest 35 win team I've ever seen in terms of happiest like team that far under 500, because they knew it was coming, and they were also like, okay, like, yeah, like we, last week or so, it's like, let's not push it, the pedal down to try to get the 10th seed, to get the last play-in spot. Like there's no point in this. Let's cool it, go take a top 10 pick and move, and build towards next year. Like when you're that young and you're not good yet, but you feel like you're going to be, like you can stomach some of this. But when you've been there, again, you're at halftime, the NBA finals, you were winning even without your all-star. And now you're 4-16. I mean, like there's only there is a it stresses like their superpower has been their chemistry, like whoever as good as this draft is, and it's very, very good. You don't know that whoever you're going to get is going to start for you next year because, like you should be, if you are healthy, bringing back most of an NBA finals team. So like, I was just looking at it the other day, like Cameron Boozer's fantastic. Cameron Boozer's not starting over Pascal Siakam. Like Cameron Boozer might be the best thing for him to learn under Pascal Siakam, but he's not starting over him. Like there's point guards in this draft that are really, really good. They're not starting over Tyrese Halliburton. Like maybe you let Mathurin walk and, you could start a DeBonsa or a Darren Peterson, but like these aren't locks. Like, I mean, if they could get a 5-man out of it, that'd be great. But I mean, like Chris Mack's the best 5-man. I don't know if he starts for you he might start for you right out of the gate. But I don't know that. So, bottom line, like you still have to view the team that you had last year as your greatest asset. Like a draft pick matters. It does. I'm not going to downplay this draft and it's December 1st and I only have half a clue about, how good these guys really are. And Peterson hasn't played in like 2 weeks, like apparently he's phenomenal. Like I haven't watched enough college basketball yet to say like I shouldn't be downplaying this too much.
Oh, Dustin cut out there a little bit. He'll be back on as soon as he rejoins us with his connection, and I'll just keep joining you up as he's talking about the Pacers right now, and they got to get things back to normal, but I don't know how good they want to get, I swear. They never get a great draft pick because they're always able, even in lean years, to hang around that middle of the pack area. Right now, they're 13th in the conference out of 15. How many ping pong balls do you get? Long way from that, as only 20 games have been played. So a long season. As see what I say, 20. You got 82 to go, or not to go, but to be played. Dustin Dopirak back with us. I was just talking about where I was looking at the standings and we were talking about the draft pick thing. I'm like, it's such a long ways to go though. We played 20 games out of an 82 game schedule. So it's just a long way to go.
Yeah, no, that's my point is like I think it's very easy for people to say, well, like, okay, well, you're going to be bad, just tank. Like 82 games is a long time. Like 82 games is a long time to ask guys to come in and get the crap kicked out of them. And you can do it with guys who just got to the league. You could do it with guys that are 22 and you don't ask them, but it just happens because they're puppies, and you run 5 22-year-old kids out against grown men in the NBA and they're going to get beat. And like they're not gonna, necessarily like lose their confidence doing that, and you're not gonna break up chemistry doing that. They just know they're gonna take their lumps. That's just how it is. But it's just like when you run guys that are 25, 26, 27, 30 that just, ran 2 back-to-back playoff runs, one of the Eastern Conference Finals, another the NBA Finals, and then you're like, all right, guys, I need you to be terrible for a whole year. They're gonna be like, no, man, I'm not interested. But like, and then that's why like Siakam's not taking the foot off the pedal. I think I saw an internet comment that was actually genius, and somebody, on a Caitlin Cooper story. And, like after they'd won a game and it was this, just smart commenter, and Caitlin's fantastic. So she has smart commenters, but like somebody said, like, I'm just tired of watching Pascal go through this Sisyphean nightmare. And that's really what it is. It's like Pascal's pushing a boulder up a hill every day and waking up every morning, and it's at the bottom of the hill again. Like that's what it's been like to watch Pascal play, but he's still showing up. He's still doing it. And that stuff matters. So, I think, bottom line, like they don't have enough wins yet to even be worried about not getting a good enough pick. So it's not like, oh my God, you're going to screw this whole thing up. You're winning 10 games in a row. They're not. They've won 2. So like the way things are, like they're probably going to try as hard as they can and still only win 20, 25 games, and they'll get be guaranteed a top 8 pick or something like that. So they'll be fine. But, like it is, you don't want to, commit to the idea of tanking with a team with this kind of experience, because, stuff can get ugly that way. You can start, having guys question, the dedication of the franchise, that's kind of stuff. Like you don't need a lack of faith in there. Like these guys need to be allowed to play. And if they end up with 25 wins because they got that injured or whatever, then they end up with 25 wins. If they end up with 18 wins, fine. But like, you don't tell them, oh, we need to have this rookie. They're going to be like, what? We were just in the finals last year. We don't need any rookie. We need Tyrese Halliburton back. We need Obi Toppin back. Like we don't need some 19-year-old kid to come in and try to change the thing. Like we know what we're doing. So that's and I'm not saying they got too much pride to add somebody in, but they're not looking at whoever's on that board as a savior. Like they were just in the NBA Finals, So like you do want to minimize the misery. You want to maintain the competitive muscle memory, and you don't want these guys to be utterly miserable for the next 4 months.
No, and that's a perfect point, and a good point, because winning is what they do. It's what they all aspire to, and you can't and don't ever want to dampen that at all. What is the best scenario for them during this to get through this, but to still benefit from it?
Yeah, I guess that's it. The answer is I don't think until you really see this draft shake out and get a better sense of who, like of the fringe of it. It's say like, okay, like how far down the draft do you need to pick and still feel like you got an impact player, a guy that's going to matter right out of the gate. It's like, okay, well, if it's a tough spot, and this was the case whenever they were when. The year they won 35-47 is the first year I was on the beat, and like Wemby was out there, and they they had we were at the draft lottery, and Kevin Pritchard told us they were one number away, because it's like kind of like a lottery. It's not like one ping pong ball anymore. It's like 5. You get a whole list of lottery cards, and like I don't know if it's four balls, 5 balls have to go your way or whatever. I think they had. The first 4 or whatever it was. It was like however many there were, they had the first one less than that. And so, they were one shot away, and it's like, and you don't know how it's going to go. Like, it's just like how like where you finish determines the number of lottery tickets you get, like, so, but it has to string together. It's not like the olden days where it's just one envelope or it's just one ping pong ball, comes out. And if you're the logo that's on it, then you're good. Like it's got to be, this sequence of numbers that you have to have. So, like then it was like, okay, like if you don't get Wemby, there's good players, but it's like, okay, like that guy's a franchise changer. And it's like, all right, well, you could Like, how important is it for you to get Brandon Miller? How important is it for you to get Scoot Henderson? And those guys are doing fine. Brandon Miller's been good when he's been healthy. Scoot Henderson's been good when he's been healthy, but it's like those guys weren't going to change your franchise. So it's like, all right, well, you were better off letting that team rock and, figuring itself out and, learning and getting itself in tough positions and winning close games and everything like that. And, just letting the chips fall where they may. And you end up with Jarris Walker, and Jarris didn't make that much, hasn't made that huge of an impact, but that team had to learn to win. So now you're balancing, all right, how much does this team have to keep winning versus what could a player do? What could a rookie do for this group? And also you got to think of, you got to start thinking of, I guess, 4 years from now, stuff like that, when some of these guys cycle out, when you let some of these guys walk, what's that look like when you're kind of building, your next, not that you're going to keep Halliburton and but Siakam 3 years from now, are you re-upping him at 34? And if so, for how much? What are you expecting at that point? That there's some different questions that you start to ask. So it's like, all right, you need to start, picking up guys that are going to be kind of part of the next wave. I think you want a top 10 pick, but if there's a chance to play in the playoffs in postseason, you have to take it. If somehow these guys turn this around to such a dramatic degree that they're looking at 500 for the year, and they can be in they can be in a playing game, you can't tell them no. You can't tell them we're shutting this down. You got to let them take a shot at it, especially for what it would take from this point forward to get to 500 for the year. You can't tell them that they can't take a play-in round, situation and turn it into a playoff series win. If they're that good at that point, you can't tell them they can't do it. So, I don't know what best case scenario is. I mean, now the other part is they're bringing back Tyrese Halliburton. That's the best draft pick you can have. A year from now, they're going to be a different team. They're going to be revitalized and recharged. And so, again, I don't want to downplay how good this draft is. I don't want to downplay the piece they could get out of it. But it's still, the best asset they have is the ability to closely reconstruct what they just did. And so you don't want to do something that, breaks that up. It's most important to just keep some level of momentum going for everybody when everybody comes back. And if that only means, if that's 25 wins, you got a top 5 pick, great, but it's a tough balance. It's a game to game balance. They got to show up every night and fight, and wherever the chips fall is where the chips fall.
There couldn't have been said any better. Let them fall, baby. And they'll fall. And hopefully it'll be more fun than for fans as the injuries kind of heal themselves up and get the guys back and they can enjoy it, because last year was so much fun for fans. It's so hard when you have a season like they did last year, and to have this, at least you knew going in what it was going to be like. So it wasn't like it was sprung on them in game one.
Well, you didn't know it was going to be like this. I thought they had a chance.
Mama said there'd be days like this.
They really were. They didn't expect to go day one. They lose Nembhard. Day 2, they lose Mathurin. Day 3, they lose Toppin. And obviously Mathurin and Nembhard have come back. But it was game 1, 2, 3. And McConnell was already out with a hamstring. So first 3 games of the season, you lose 3 rotation players. That's nuts. And you're already out your all-star. And so, and you've lost Neesmith since, and Quentin Jackson since, and Johnny Furphy since. And it's just all that stacked. And that you couldn't predict.
Speaking of can't predict, how about the college football coaching carousel, baby? Round and round we go. Where we stop, nobody knows. Mark Stoops is now out of a job. Lane Kiffin is at LSU. You need a scorecard. Get it out. Get a pen. Get a pencil with an eraser. We'll be back, and we'll talk about all that and more. Dustin Dopirak from the Indy Star with us right now. Back with plenty more right after these messages.
The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State.
Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC. Local lives here.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's COYLE, to receive a discounted fundraiser. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. When it comes to apparel and promotions, Freethink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. Freethink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. Freethink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what Freethink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com. Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Monday, and I should say hiring day, or it's post-hiring day, as let's see, Mark Stoops, Pat Fitzgerald, Lane Kiffin, Pete Golding, John Sumrall, Jonathan Smith. You can go on, in, out, in, out. It's like you don't know who's got a job, who lost a job, who just got a job. They're everywhere. The hiring and firing continues. Dustin Dopirak from the Indy Star with us as this college football coaching carousel is. We've never seen anything like this, Dustin. First of all, just the sheer number, period. Boom, of all these higher profile schools, never. And then it's been going on for weeks. And it is the new college football. I don't know that we always see this. I think this is kind of like a correction period where they finally reach a point of knowing, hey, we can't do this or can't do that. I don't know. We'll see. But man, names are Pat Fitzgerald, who I thought that Iowa and Kirk Ferentz would like walk off into the sunset on this. No, I guess he's not ready to go. And I mean, winning 8 games a year, you don't blame him.
Yep.
The thing is, Iowa is going to be Iowa. Iowa's going to win their 8 games, but they're not going to win 10 or 11 or be in the college football playoff. I don't think. I just think that they're kind of stuck in this wheel of really good football, but not quite good enough. Which maybe that for a state of fans that does not have a pro sports team, maybe that's enough. But man, it's not going to be the case at other places. I mentioned earlier Purdue's in a bad spot. I mean, that's going to be hard to climb out of that football hole.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was going to be hard for Indiana to climb out of that football hole.
But do they have the same resources? I'm wondering. I wonder if they have the same commitment.
They don't, and it's an issue. I mean, like I've not looked closely enough at their financials and like why this is, but I mean, like you go back to certain things of like when, I mean, like they had temporary lights for how long, like that kind of thing. I mean, like they're just, there's been an issue with money there, and money is going to be such a driver on this, between what you're going to pay your coach, what you're going to pay your players. That's difficult. And Indiana obviously decided at a certain point they were going to throw a lot of money into football, and they, that they were going to really, make a sizable gamble on making this thing work, and it paid off. And so, is Purdue going to get to that place? Could it get to that place if it wanted to? Even if it was able to marshal all of the available resources that it has, I don't know. I mean, I don't. I don't know what it comes down to, who's going to give you the money, and I don't know why Indiana's been able to find a whole lot more people to do that than Purdue has. So it is a tough situation as the cost to stay in the game is getting higher. That makes life harder on Purdue for sure.
Yeah, without question, it's going to continue to get trickier and trickier. And unfortunately for Indiana, they found the right coach at the right time. It's not NIL that has boosted Indiana. It's the transfer portal and the right coach that knows how to identify talent and all the other good things.
Yeah.
So
had it already. Like it matters that he was a head coach somewhere else. It matters that those guys. I covered James Madison way back in the day, and I mostly covered basketball. Helped out with Mike Barber on football. They were pretty well primed for this. James Madison is, they've got to 1A and, busted some heads in the Sun Belt Conference, So, James Madison, in terms of being a team that, it really was good for you to be a part of, again, transitioning division, number one, having a coach have that experience. Number two, being able to directly pull players from there. That number one, that we're going to both feel like are, definitely going to have a chip on their shoulders, feel like they weren't respected coming out of high school, but went out and won, real games at a real level and developed, they were able to build a foundation on those guys. And, that's really fortunate by itself. But I mean, again, Signetti is a great coach. So I'm not trying to downplay that either. But they got a lot of pieces that worked in their favor at the right time. But once you get it going, it's a machine. And that's how it looks right now. I mean, Fernando Mendoza is not a, JMU guy. They got him from Cal. They were able to convince other people that are outside of this to come be a part of it, that weren't part of that pipeline at JMU. It is rolling now. And so, they got the right coach at the right time who had the right experience to make this work. Was at the right place where he could build a pretty good foundation of talent out of what he already had to bring with him. That's a lot of dominoes that fell in the right, in the right place here.
And the most amazing thing is they're not in a position right now to where they're losing this guy, like so many other programs are worried of doing, which Indiana would have been one of the most programs worried about that situation in any other time. I mean, everything has, and you got to get a lot of credit to Scott Dolson. I mean, bam, signed him. It's like, let's get him signed, get him locked in. Boom, locked in. I don't think Kurt Signetti wanted to go anywhere else. You can look at his past. Not like he's been jumping around job hopping. So he probably didn't really want to go anywhere else because he knows he can get it done here. Why? He's getting it done right now. And if I hear somebody say, oh, well, they got to do something first, I'm like, oh, go blow. We mean go do something first. My God, they've lost one regular season game in 2 years in the Big Ten. Get out of here with that. But that's just, jealous fans are goofy and get silly. But hey, man,
people just say stuff. It's really what it comes to.
Yeah, it's remarkable. The turnaround is remarkable. Have they won something yet? No. But what they've done is the equivalent of it's just crazy. Now, do I expect them to beat Ohio State? No. If you put a gun to my head and I said, no, I don't expect them to. Ohio State is but I definitely think that they can. I think Indiana's defense is as good. Hell, it might be better. Ohio State has not, I don't know that they've been challenged their defense as much as Indiana's has been with the going to play at Oregon, at Iowa, at Penn State, some of these other places. But We'll certainly see. Their offense is obviously tremendous. Julian Sand obviously doing an unbelievable job, extraordinarily consistent. But he has great guys to throw to. Indiana has an advantage in the run game, and I think that is where they're going to have to exploit something. I think that's what's going to either win or lose the game for Indiana.
Probably,
if they can run the ball over Ohio State and make life a little more difficult, I think that if you had to pick the weakest spot on their defense, it's a secondary. They've got 6 interceptions on the year. Indiana's got like 16. I think they lead the country. Indiana leads the country in turnover margin. So that's where Indiana has to make up for things in those little fringe areas. And they can, if they can make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, I that defense is really good. I'm going to call up stats as I'm talking to you here, but like where they had rush defense, Ohio State's got to be top 5. Oh, I mean, Indiana's a tick better, but they're both really good. Indiana's second in Division I with 79.2 yards per game. Ohio State's at 81.7. So like yards per rush, Ohio State's a couple ticks better, 2.77 to 2.94. So neither one of those teams is going to get run over, but pass defense just, I mean, they're both tremendous, like they're both
elite.
Fantastic.
They are both elite, and they're elite on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
That is what makes them stand out. And not that there aren't other teams that are really good. There are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But there aren't many teams that are this good on both sides of the ball. And that's what makes teams stand out. But we'll see. That's why they play the games, man. And boy, oh boy, did they play them this past weekend. Some big upsets, which I expected Texas A&M to go down. They hadn't, for all this SEC talk, I'm like, yeah, but these guys, they haven't really played anybody. I'm like,
I wouldn't say that. They beat Notre Dame's no joke. Notre Dame's
but they games that are in their first, like the talk about Notre Dame and Miami. I think Notre Dame is better than Miami right now. If those two teams played right now, I think Notre Dame is a better team. And so there's an argument because Miami beat Notre Dame at the start of the year. I'm like, yeah, they did. They beat them in Miami, first game of the year. I'm like, okay, I'm going to give some leeway to that because it was on the road and it was first game of the year. But I look at things now, and you're in the weakest conference in the history of conferences and can't make the championship game. You got a 7-5 team going to the conference championship. That's awful.
I mean, the thing with Miami that's brutal is that, like, I think they're going to lose out just for having messed up the whole thing. Like they are the best team in the ACC, and yet they lost 2 unforgivable. I mean, total of 9 points between the two of them, to Louisville and SMU. But like, if you just beat the teams you're supposed to beat, I mean, they'd have been a number 1 seed. Like they came out of that, like through. They had beaten Notre Dame, South Florida, Florida State the first, and Florida the first 6 games of the year. They were everybody's number 1 team. They were everybody's number 1 team. It was like them and Ohio State. And so, like, all they had to do was beat the teams they're supposed to beat in the ACC, and they're number 1 going into this. Like it'd be Miami and Ohio State and Indiana, and that'd be it. But like Miami would be safe as number 1. You go back, but you go out and lose to 2 teams you're just not supposed to lose to, and it wrecks the whole system. And it's like, I think you could make an argument that Miami's better than Notre Dame, but like if you're the college football playoff, you're like, you know what? F you Miami for like making us take either Virginia or Duke into this. You have given us no choice. We had to take Virginia or Duke in the college football playoff, and that's your fault. Like at the end of the day, that is your fault. You were supposed to save everybody from this. You were supposed to be Miami and go beat the teams you're supposed to beat, and you lost to Louisville, and SMU. Like, yes, like Miami and Notre Dame are both supposed to be in this. You're not supposed to have to give up a spot out of 12 to Virginia or Duke, and Miami, that's your fault.
It absolutely
I feel like
is.
Because there's a great case to be made. Miami beat them. And like it's supposed to matter what you do head to head. Like, it is supposed to matter what you do head to head.
It does. And I hate it. I'm so torn because of that.
Yeah.
But I still look, there's just so many other things that I look at. I'm like, wow. So each situation is different.
Yeah. But I think if a team that was going to get in from the ACC got in, if the ACC had a second team that was like playoff caliber, and they were going to get in anyway, and I think Miami might actually have a better chance. Like, I think there's going to be some level of like, you messed this up for everybody, thing here. This was supposed to be normal. Like you were supposed to give us a legit ACC champ that's got a chance to win this thing. Instead you got to take Virginia or Duke, and Virginia's tough. I give Virginia credit. I think Virginia's going to win that game, and probably
they better.
Yeah. But all the same, it's just, like, you did not expect to have to take 10-2 Virginia. It's 10-2 Virginia. Those guys are no joke. Virginia hasn't been that good in a long time. But like, it's still not how this was supposed to go. And I imagine that's going to ding, Miami up a little bit. It's just, you lost 2 games you weren't supposed to lose. So, yeah, I mean, I think Notre Dame is, if you replay that game right now, Notre Dame probably does win it. But I mean, I came out of that first game against, watching that first game, Miami Notre Dame game, thinking, man, Miami's good. Miami's loaded, and they messed around a couple times, and which Miami tends to do.
Yeah. See what I forget the conference they're in, but North Texas, was it the American Conference? Probably.
Them and Tulane in the AAC.
But guess who Indiana opens the season with next year?
Is it North Texas?
Yeah. So, again, not a P4 team, but a potentially college football playoff team.
Right.
So that would be kind of amazing to see, and just
it would have been interesting to see. Like, it would have been interesting to see Indiana play Virginia.
Oh, I know.
In September, yeah. There's that.
Louisville, they could have kept that. So
I have no doubt they'd have won that game and won it by a lot.
The Heisman Trophy, man. Diego Pavia has climbed his way up into most people's top 3 from what I'm seeing. On 3, I think that they're just doing this to be a little different. But today, in their latest poll, they have him at the top, ahead of Fernando Mendoza, which I'm like, whoa, stop.
Yeah.
The losses that his team has almost were directly his responsibility for fumbling the ball. So no, I'm sorry. You're not going to win the Heisman over 2 guys that have taken their teams undefeated through the regular season, through the conference that has won the last 2 national titles and poised to win a 3rd straight. But things go how they go. But the Heisman Trophy race, it's going to come down to this weekend. I've said it over and over. Saturday is that whoever wins this game, Diego Pavia is not playing Saturday. That's another thing. His stats are done. So no more style points or whatever points. I just I've thought for a long time, if these teams do what they have done, go 12-0, they're the 2 best teams in the best conference, and with the quarterbacks that have been up there all year long for different reasons. Julian Sand, his throwing percentage has been unbelievably high. He's got yardage as well. Fernando, the touchdowns, the game-winning drives. That's something that that's a position that the Ohio State quarterback has not been put in yet this year because they've been fortunate to not. But that defense, that Ohio State defense, I think they finished the entire season without giving up more than 17 points.
Yeah, no, I mean they're not going to give up 20 anyway. Yeah, it's incredible. No, I think so. Let me break down a couple pieces of that. I mean, I do think Mendoza is the front runner, and I do think he'll probably win it. And he's got, it matters to have, if you want to call it that Heisman moment, that drive against Penn State is massive. And, again, like, what's he at? I got to look, call him up while I'm doing this. But like numbers are terrific. Taking Indiana to an undefeated season, that's a big deal. Taking Vanderbilt to this, though, is a big deal too. And I do think that it makes sense to.
Well, this weekend's win over Tennessee was huge.
It was massive. It's gigantic. Beating those guys. I mean, like Tennessee has such a big advantage in that series. I mean, like I don't know what it's got to be like. Tennessee's probably won 90% of the games in that history, and so to beat those guys is a big deal. And like he gave Texas a game, beat Auburn, beat Kentucky, beat LSU, beat Missouri, like beat South Carolina, beat Virginia Tech. Like I mean, he's Pavi has had an incredible career and, like had an incredible season, 3,192 yards, 27 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. I mean, he's been terrific. And I think I do like the idea of sending him in as many guys to New York as you can justify, and so, Mendoza's got to be there. I do think Pavi has got to be there.
I think we might see 4 this year.
What's up?
I think we might see 4 this year.
Maybe. I think Jeremiah Love belongs. I mean, I think, like married a South Bend girl, watch a lot of Notre Dame football. Love and Price are incredible. Those guys are unbelievable. They've got flaws on that team, but like Love and Price are one of the best collections of running backs I've ever seen. Like they're darn near automatic. I mean, they touch like every time they touch the ball, it's electric. So, like I think Love.
It's electric.
Should not have done that. I knew
it's
I was
electric
up for that.
Set it up. What's up next for you, Mr. Electric?
Tonight they got Cleveland. Wednesday they got Denver at home, and then Friday go to Chicago, play the Bulls again. So see how that goes. Gonna have a hard time making a 2-win streak 3, given what's coming. So, but we'll see.
Absolutely. Dustin Dopirak from the Indy Star joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Make sure you're giving him a follow. Appreciate you, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after these messages. Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right. No payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing, or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition, or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemooreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Monday. Glad to have you along for the ride. Staying warm out there, I hope, as the temps have dropped. We're into that time of year, but hey, what do you expect? It's it is what it is. What are we looking at temperature wise these next 30s Thursday? Woo, little chilly for us here. Up north, be a little colder.
Lots going on in college football, the coaching college carousel. Oh my goodness, Mark Stoops now. Kentucky has fired him after leading that program for 13 seasons. He has been relieved of his duties. On threes, Chris Lowe and Pete Nakos reported Sunday night. His buyout is approximately $38 million. Was supposed to be due within 60 days, but Lowe reports an agreement has been made to spread out the payments over a number of years. Why not? They've already paid him millions and millions of dollars. Yeah, it's an annuity, baby. Hell yes. You're like this. Yeah. Where's the check and where's the door? That's all you got to say. Kick him feet back. Count it. Hell yes. I mean, the gravy job of being a fired college football coach. Man. Greatest job in the history of the world is what it seems like. So who's going to be next to Kentucky? Who knows? That's the thing. There, with so many openings of these schools that are firing people still, man, you're behind, which I know you probably already had an idea if that happened and athletics directors were making their lists and checking them twice and seeing if you're naughty or nice and all that good biz. But Michigan State, they fired Jonathan Smith as expected. That guy just never, he just looked like a kid. I don't know. Replaced by, I told you he'd be a Big Ten head coach again, Pat Fitzgerald. What a great grab by Michigan State. Now, but here's the thing. He's been out of coaching for the last couple of years. And that's when all of this change has happened. How long is it going to take him to get up to speed on all this? Because it's a different deal, man. It is a different deal. But we'll see. We shall see. But, an old name back in a new place. So, Florida expecting to hire Tulane coach John Sumrall, but that begs a question. Tulane playing North Texas in their conference championship to see who plays in the college football playoffs. So now they're going to be, I don't know, coachless probably. Ole Miss not letting Lane Kiffin coach in their playoff game, as their interim coach is going to handle that. Does that have any impact? Now, it won't have much of an impact on, say, North Texas or Tulane, rather, if they make it. They're going to be toward the bottom anyway. So they might get moved a spot. But it's curious on how it might impact Ole Miss. Does it? Probably not. But the SEC games on Saturday with A&M losing, getting knocked out, they're not going to have a bye. They're not playing in the SEC championship. And earlier, with things, had they gone that way, I expected that the SEC champion and the runner-up would take the number 2 and the number 4 slots in the CFP poll. Not anymore. Not anymore do I think that, because let's say either Alabama or Georgia loses. Georgia could possibly stay in that 4th spot, but Alabama is not even in the top 4, so they're not going to get a bye unless they win. Now, if they win, does Georgia move 1 spot or more? I think that they move. If Georgia loses, would that be their 3rd loss? Their 2nd loss. I know they lost to Alabama. Golly, it's hard to keep up with all this. If that happens, and if that is Georgia's 3rd loss, even with there being their 2nd loss, I think it might move them down to the 5th spot so they can move Texas Tech into that 4th spot. Oh, there's a lot going on, man. I'm telling you, I told you you're going to need a notepad. It's crazy. But we're not even close to knowing who's playing whom. The brackets right now, the way that they are at, well, they've got to come out again tomorrow. There will be some change. No change at the top for Indiana. But something that I did notice is you can be, and this happened last year in a way with how, I think Oregon ended up having a tougher game and being a higher seed and having a tougher game. That can happen again, in my opinion, this year. If, let's say, Indiana goes to the Orange Bowl in Miami, which is becoming very, very possible in my mind, because I think now if Texas Tech wins the Big 12, they are going to slide into that fourth slot, in my opinion. Doesn't mean jack. And it only matters for those that are traveling, to be honest with you. But Indiana's first game would be on January 1st in Miami if they were in the Orange Bowl. And it would, right now, well, that's who they're guessing. Who your seed is and who you determines who you're going to end up playing. And it's going to be interesting to see who lands where, because some of these matchups, sometimes a higher seed has a tougher matchup than a lower seed. Oh, mercy. Notre Dame, they're getting in. Forget it. And like I just had that discussion of Notre Dame and Miami. Boy, normally I would never be on that side because I'm not defending Notre Dame, but I just have to be honest. Right now, for the eye test, if I were on the committee, I've got Notre Dame ahead of Miami. Miami plays in the weakest conference, the weakest Power 4 conference in college football, without question, with a 7-5 team playing for their conference championship. So that, to me, that's a huge knock. But man, this is where it gets fun. Right now, it's all prognostication about who's going to be playing whom. We will know next Sunday exactly who's playing whom and where. Does Indiana, I'd like to say there are 3 options, but now I'm thinking there are 2 options, and that second option, which had long been the Cotton Bowl, is now going to change over to being the Orange Bowl in Miami. That may make people happier. You got to travel anyway. If you're going to travel, I guess might as well go to Miami. A little beach time. He ain't here for no beach, Junior. They got football to play. Oh, man, that's right. The week of the college or Big Ten championship week, college conference championship week. All the championships coming up this weekend. SEC, Big Ten. Oh, we've got lots. We'll be there. We've got stuff at Clayton's Country Bar this week. We'll talk more about that. We'll be doing the show in between the basketball and the football game. Oh, mercy. Big thanks to each and every one of you. Don Fischer, Greg Rakestraw, Dustin Dopirak. We're back tomorrow to do this all again. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I'll see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.